If you saw my table saw tune-up video, you know, it was a friend's table saw, and when we were going to get it, he said, if you've seen anything that you're interested in, pick it up for yourself. And this looked interesting, and it is a skew Rabbet plane. So I'm going to give it a bit of a cleanup. It's in kind of rough shape, but we're not going to do too much to it. Make it a user. Oh, there's a JP on it. But I don't think it's a maker's mark. I'll just try a bit of 180 grit to get some of this off. It's got some paint on it. I'm going to try to square that up just a little bit with the 4. Much better. It's still got a bit of a low spot right in there, but I think I got enough registration, and I don't want to open the mouth up too far either. I'm just going to take a file and just take a little bit of that sharp edge off so it's not so brittle. And I think the escapement, I'm just going to leave the original finish in there. And the wedge, I'm just going to leave that as it is. We got to do something with this blade. I'll just start this off with some 180 also. Doesn't work with the old oil stone. That's not going to take too long. Already got a bit of a shine right there. Yeah, we're going to come along pretty good. Yeah, it's going to be fine. Yeah, I think we can switch to the water stones already. And for that, we're going to have to go into the house, because it's below freezing here. Well, while we're waiting for our water stone to soak, and give the body a nice coat of boiled linseed oil. See if we can get this thing nice and sharp. Nothing is really sharp until it's stropped. And my favorite metal protection of furniture wax and 3-in-1 oil combined. My angle doesn't look quite the same on the blade as it does on the body. We might have to do some reshaping on that. Yeah, Yeah, we're going to have to do quite a bit of reshaping on that. It's sharp. See the angle. I hope isn't quite the same. I'm going to take a Sharpie and register off the bottom. So, a little bit at a time. We're getting the rough grind in there. Because my tool rest is so low, I just took a pair of vice grips and clamped on a card scraper. And it kind of interferes with the width. But then I just put one on this side just to get the rough grind in. So if you have a grinder of any type, you need one of these things. They come in a variety of different configurations. This is a dresser for a wheel, and it takes all the load up out of the wheel. And makes it nice and clean and cutting again. Oh, we got a rough grind on it. The rest of it is by hand. And it's nice and flat. And it's starting to look a little bit more aligned at the bottom. But one thing I am noticing is it's quite a bit wider. So I'm going to have to narrow it up a little bit. Make a line across there. And for that I'm going to use the electric grinder, just to save time. So a little bit of a tip, grinding wheels, if they're going to go and explode, about 99% of the time they'll do it while the machine is spooling up. So don't stand in front of it until it gets to full speed. And you notice my fingers are close to the edge. So if I can hold it and not feel the heat, then I'm not losing the temper. So it might be a little bit nerve-wracking keeping your fingers close to the wheel, but you want to stay in contact with your part and monitor the temperature so you don't take the temper out of the steel. Once you start feeling a little bit of heat in it, get some water. In my case, what I'm going to go do is just dip it in the snow. The last time I tried this, I just put a piece of wood up against my planing stop. And the wood I was trying it on was in too far. And when I went in, my finger caught on the planing stop and the plane kept going and resulted in a bandage. Let's try to be less silly this time. I'll switch over to a piece of pine to compensate for my lack of skill. See what's happening here. My blade isn't quite over to the edge yet. Yeah, it's stair-stepping down. Yeah, that's better. On the learning curve now. We're getting shavings off of it. And we're getting a rebate. Square it up going the other way. Oh, this definitely works as a rabbit plane. And as a shoulder plane. So cool. I'm pretty happy with that. It's going to take a little bit of learning, but we'll get there. A fun little experiment. Thanks for dropping by.